Hey guys, I'm making a video response to what were your most memorable gaming moments by Drew Days, and yeah, I'm just going to show you what's most memorable to me. So let's start off with well, the system, I guess, that started me off, and that is the Game Boy Pocket, not the Game Boy Color, the Game Boy Pocket. I think it's the only red Game Boy, back then. And well, I love this thing. I never actually used it a lot because soon after I got the Game Boy Color, but I still used it a bit back then, and I used it for, well, basically the Game Boy camera. They don't make these anymore. They don't do this for like current systems like the DS. Well, they do. They're very pretty into the DS, but you get my point. They didn't do it for the Game Boy Advance or anything like that. So yeah, it's the only Game Boy camera out there, and it's black and white. You can only take photos, and I only used it to take pictures of my granddad, my sister, my parents. You get the point. And you would put it in, and it had the ability to, well, basically turn around, so it was really nice kind of feature, and it's bundled in, I think, with also the Game Boy printer, which I never used, and it's used to like print out these black and white kind of printings and stuff with like the camera and all that. Really good effects, by the way, this camera, but I never used it. It still has paper in it, like a lot of paper. I mean, a ton of paper. I mean, I never actually used it because I'd never had enough batteries, I guess, to power this thing. You need 6 batteries to do this thing, so that was one of the reasons why I never used it. But that was like when I was 5 or 6, so I never bothered. Anyway, let's go on to the Game Boy games, and that starts off with Rugrats. Now this game, well, it's based on the real TV show that was like on Nickelodeon for like a few years up to now, and you will probably have watched it if you're my age right now, and it really was a good show back then. I absolutely loved this game. The gameplay was great. The graphics were awesome. Good challenges. I never stopped playing this game. And, well, it's old now, and they never made another one, unfortunately. But it really was fun back then, and it still is fun. You can see that the cover is a bit put off because I put it in the wash one day, unfortunately. It's in my pocket, and, well, that's ironic. It's in my pocket, and I forgot to get it out, and it got washed off. But the game still worked, so I didn't care. Still here. Great game. We go on to Pokemon trading card game. Now this game, well, it basically started it off for me. Pokemon. I used to collect the trading cards and stuff like that, but I never actually did it that much. Only did a few, like a month or so, and then I just quit when I was like 5 or 6. But yeah, I completed this only recently. Never actually played it, like completed it. I just realized that I only had a few badges, and I decided to do it again. So that's why I completed it recently. And yeah, this was a good game. And well, it started me off, like I said. Good times. Anyway, we go on to The Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening. Now this game is pretty awesome. Started me off on the series. I really love this game. It's still intact. The cover and all that is still good. But yeah, I played this game loads. Never completed it. I never took it seriously, but I did on the feature game, like Legend of Zelda games. I completed those, but I never completed this. It still is hard, I reckon. I think this is harder than the ones that we have nowadays. So I never actually completed it. Might do it now because you mentioned it, because I mentioned it. So yeah, and I also want to say that I had the Legend of Zelda Oracles, Season of Oracles or something, but I've lost that somewhere, so I have to try and find it. But that was a good game. That's from what I remember anyway. And then we go on to this, and it still reigns over my life right now. Pokemon Yellow and Pokemon Blue. I don't know where Pokemon Red is, but I would show it. So yeah, just a mention. This game, it started off with Pikachu out of this ball, and only recently they start putting it in Heart Gold and Soul Silver, which is cool, but a bit late. They had all these Pokemon games and then they stopped doing it again. It's kind of funny, ironic, really. But this was the game that could get you any Pokemon, so you could start off with Pikachu, and then you would continue on. Like in the storyline, you would get Squirtle and Charmander and Bulbasaur on the way. This was a good game, and so was Pokemon Blue. Really good recommendations back then. Played it loads, finished it. And we continue on to Pokemon Gold, Pokemon Silver. Now these two games, they forced me to get Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver. These two games were really good, and they started off like day and night, and all the essentials that are in Pokemon games now. It started it off, and that's why one of the reasons why I got Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver. So you should say thanks to that Pokemon company. And since I got those two games, I got Pokemon Crystal as well. Now this game, I think I played it too much back then, but it was a really good game, and I loved it loads, like these two games. So yeah, Pokemon Crystal, great game, good memories. And we continue on to the Game Boy Advance games now, and well, basically I haven't got that many Pokemon like Game Boy Advance games. They were really easily lost back then, like Game Boy Color games. They only started using cases for Game Boy, the DS and all that, so that's why I haven't lost any of those games. But I mostly lost all my Game Boy Advance and Game Boy Color games, so unfortunately there will be some missing, so yeah, as careless. So we have Magical Quest, a Mickey Mouse game back then. Me and my sister, we loved it to bits, and we played it so much. It's magical. It really was magical. Great game. Then we continue on to Wario Land 4. Now, I had Wario Land on the Game Boy, which, fortunately, like I said, is really easily lost, and I lost it. So, this was a good game. Really good game. Then we continue on to, well, Pokemon Emerald. Now, this game was really good. I even remember I played it in the airport or something. I think I got it in England. Yeah, I got the guidebook and everything for this game. It really was a good game. Loved it, like every other Pokemon game. Then we continue on to the remakes of Pokemon Blue and Red, or whatever. I don't think there was a Pokemon Green, but they added it in anyway. They got Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green. These two games, great remakes, I guess. Good memories. Yeah. Then we continue on to The Legend of Zelda again. This was like after the other game, which was A Link to the Past, that I got. That's a really good game. I got the guide and everything. I got my granddad to buy the walkthrough for me because I didn't have enough money to buy the game. So I got the he bought the walkthrough for me. So I'm so grateful for that. Oh, really good game. A Link to the Past, that was a good game. And also the Minish Cap, which I finished as well. Like I said, I finished all those games. And I also want to mention The Legend of Zelda, Wind Waker and Ocarina of Time. I never actually played it in Nintendo 64 because I never actually had it. But because I think my family's quite poor back then. But yeah, I never played it. Well, I did one time when I broke my arm. I remember I was in the hospital recovering, and I was playing Super Mario 64. I still remember that game. Great graphics, great gameplay. Love that game. But I only played it for a few days, so yeah, can't really remember it. Might get a 64 to play that game again. That was amazing. Or get the DS version. Yeah. So we continue on, and yeah, these were the games that they continue to control my life, I guess. Great games, good moments.